All right. Thank you for letting me come in and observe your class tomorrow. Today, I'm just going to be asking you a few questions about tomorrow's lesson. So what do you want your students to know and be able to do by the end of the lesson?
By the end of the lesson, I'm really spot checking what they know about counting back money in our small groups, where we've been focusing a lot on money recently, kind of as a review, and really focusing on the skills of subtraction and understanding how to borrow from your neighbor.
And how does this fit in the big picture, the sequence of learning for this class?
For this class in particular, it's kind of one of those skills that they need to know in order to move on. We're going to start working on rounding. So they need to know the difference between how close a number is to another. And so counting back is something that we've been working on with money. And when we do money, which one are you closer to? Are you closer to $5 or are you closer to $4 when you're doing that? So that's kind of where we're kind of focusing on. I've noticed while teaching that they are having trouble with counting back. So we're kind of going back and reviewing subtraction again.
Okay, so how will you know when they've learned this skill that you're working on?
I kind of have done a pre-test, so I know where they have started, and I have given out a post-test. I will be giving a smaller one-sheet post-test of kind of count back money, because I've noticed that being a major problem, so I will have another post-test for that.
Is the post-test going to be tomorrow, or?
It will be probably on Thursday.
So tomorrow during your lesson, what do you plan, how will you know that they're taking those steps to get there?
In a small group setting, which I'm going to have most of my students move in and out during the day, I have a worksheet that we'll work on, and we'll work through the first section together, and by the end they should be able to do it by themselves. So I will check their work at the very end to kind of see where they're at.
Okay, now you mentioned a small group and a worksheet. What other instructional materials are you planning on using?
I have the students working through center, so there will be a center of MobiMath, so they're getting the instructional aid at their level using that computer program, and I will have other students working at their desk on review and reviewing facts, as well as a small group on the floor organizing numbers and putting numbers in order.
And how will you respond when they either don't learn what you're trying to get across, or if they already know it?
If they already know it, it's a skill that at least I'm aware that they know, so that would be something they move quickly through this section and they'll move back to their seat before the next center. If it's something that they're still struggling with, I'm willing to kind of work with them, and I have dry erase board and try and use manipulatives the best I can to try and see where they're picking up. They might be more visual, they might be more physical, just trying to see where their problem lies and see if that helps them.
Is there anything you would specifically like me to observe during this lesson? We talked a little bit about some of the data I could collect for you.
I think mainly what I want to see is just if I'm interacting with the students well, if I'm answering their questions in the best way possible. I think that's majorly what you should focus on.
And how will you engage the students in learning? What will you do? What will they do?
My students, I will work through them. They're going to read with me and follow along, and we're going to work one-on-one through a problem. Then they're going to tell me how to do a problem, and then they're going to do a problem by themselves. So kind of the one-on-one, engaging, small group setting. And before all of this, I normally have a mini lesson. So as a class, they kind of teach me what we already know.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit more about that? What would a mini lesson look like before they divide into their small groups?
The mini lesson is basically we kind of review what they already know. They already know the decimal and the dollar sign. They already know the cent sign, how to write money 2 ways. And then we go through a very simple count-back problem, a medium count-back problem, and a very difficult count-back problem. And we work through the subtraction on the board. Then we split up into our groups.
And about how long does the mini lesson normally last?
The mini lesson can last between 5 to 10 minutes. Very short, kind of a review for what they've already learned.
And then how long do they spend at each of the small group stations?
The small group stations, it just kind of depends. I've worked longer with the kids who are struggling, and that can be about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And for the kids who are picking up very quickly, it can be 5 to 10.
And just briefly kind of describe your class to me. Are there any that have an IEP or with special needs in particular?
I have one IEP student, so they get pulled out during this time. And when they are here, they're normally working with me in the small group setting. I have other students who are, my levels vary in terms of what they know and what they don't know. So I'm constantly just kind of jostling between where they lie in our subject. So.
And is there anything else that you would like me to watch for tomorrow?
I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, and I appreciate you letting me do that.
No problem.
Okay, thanks.